I often call satisfaction the fourth macronutrient on a dancer's balanced plate, alongside those other macronutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. The reason for this is because feeling satisfied and ultimately energized from our meals and snacks is something that is elemental for all dancers. But many dancers struggle with this and struggle with the idea of choosing foods that are not just satisfying, but building meals and snacks that will help them to feel energized and satiated throughout their day. Today, we are chatting about how to best build satisfying meals and snacks by leveraging the staying power of our food choices. Hi, I'm Rachel Fine. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist working with dancers just like you to help build more supportive habits at meal times. The staying power of a food or meal refers to the degree at which it keeps you feeling satisfied and ultimately energized until your next opportunity to eat. Simply put, your meal's staying power helps to keep you feeling full. I've previously discussed how dancers can relearn how to both identify and honor fullness cues. Today, I want to give you specific and actionable tips to promote your meals and snacks staying power so that you can best feel satiated throughout your day. First, let's dive a little bit into what it means for a food to have a low degree of staying power. Sometimes we call these, and I quote, air foods. Per serving, they're very low in calories and often scarce in the macronutrients. So they're low in carbohydrate, they're low in protein, and they're low in fat. These options will provide you with volume at your meals and even might help to promote an immediate feeling of fullness. So I'm thinking of an undressed salad or maybe a plate of steamed vegetables. However, the fullness you experience from these foods is fleeting. I often see dancers turn to low-calorie foods in efforts to attempt to manipulate their body's weight, shape, or size. It's a clear-cut dieting behavior. And what ultimately happens is dancers experience a chronic, low-lying feeling of hunger and a lack of satisfaction throughout their day. This drives a very challenged relationship with food and drives dancers further away from their ultimate health and performance goals. So contrary to popular belief, attempting to bulk your meals with just low-calorie foods, it's not helping you in the long run. A couple examples: cucumbers, celery, carrots, leafy greens, rice cakes, non-fat dairy products, so non-fat yogurts, fat-free milks, candy, wheat bread, and plain popcorn. Now, just an FYI, none of these foods are inherently bad. In fact, some of them, those fruits and veggies, are rich in a plethora of micronutrients like vitamins and minerals that will support your bodies. But we can learn how to incorporate them as part of a mixed meal, increase their staying power so that you can feel more satisfied after eating them. I cannot tell you how many dancers come into my office, and by the way, I remember experiencing this myself when I was dancing full-time, trying to rely on low-calorie snacks like celery sticks or carrot sticks in order to, and I quote, save up calories for an upcoming meal. But this behavior often opens the doors to other behaviors like eating past a point of physical comfort, especially when you reintroduce foods or macronutrients that you had been avoiding. Tools like gentle nutrition can further be utilized as we continue to make way in increasing your meal or snack staying power. So let's dive into 5 actionable tips so that you can build up your meal. I'm not talking about in volume, I'm talking about in staying power so that you can feel full, satisfied, and energized until your next opportunity to refuel. First and foremost, we want to prioritize balance. Balance refers to those 3 macronutrients, making sure our meals and snacks incorporate a source of carbohydrates, a source of protein, and a source of fat. I call this macronutrient mix a dancer's fuel mix. And it's an elemental factor within the Healthy Dancer functional fuel algorithm. All three of these macronutrients hold very important roles both on our plate and in our body. Carbohydrates offer an efficient source of energy, while adding protein and fat to the mix help to sustain blood sugar and therefore promote more steady levels of energy. So as an example, if we're thinking of a salad, topping your salad with shredded cheese, grilled chicken or tofu, a generous handful of rice, and dressing it with your favorite vinaigrette will help to promote a way more fulfilling meal. Next up, we can increase a food's staying power by adding a source of protein. Foods rich in protein like meats, poultry, fish, plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, beans, nuts, seeds. Also dairy and dairy-free alternatives are all examples. The next time you have a rice cake, pair it with some cheese or crumble it alongside some chopped nuts for a crunchy addition to your yogurt. Alongside that protein addition, let's talk about fiber. Fiber is a functional component of plant-based foods. It's the indigestible part of carbohydrates, and it helps to add bulk to our meals. Soluble fiber in particular forms a gel-like substance when combined with water in the process of digestion, slowing the overall transit of your digested food throughout your system. This helps to not only promote satiety, but also sustain those energy levels for longer. You'll also help to prevent energy crashes. So if you're incorporating complex carbohydrates, those that are richer in fiber into your meals, so I'm thinking whole grains, whole grain bread products, starchy veggies, you'll not just feel fuller for longer, but you'll help to promote steadier blood sugar and therefore energy. Now, just an FYI, adding fibrous complex carbohydrates to your meal, incredibly beneficial, but it is possible to overdo it. Having too much fiber throughout your day can lead to a lot of digestive irregularity, and there's even some research to associate excessive fiber intake with menstrual irregularities and infertility. So if you're increasing the fiber in your diet and you're not quite sure whether or not you're teetering into the excessive range, then reaching out to a licensed professional such as a registered dietitian nutritionist is incredibly encouraged. Moving right along with our macronutrients to increase the staying power of your meal comes fat. As part of our meals, fat has always been misunderstood and wrongfully demonized. Fat is a concentrated source of calories or energy. Similar to protein and fiber, adding fat to your meal or snack helps to slow digestion and contribute to overall feelings of fullness. Fat also helps to regulate a very important appetite hormone known as leptin. Leptin is that feel-full hormone that kicks in as we start to complete our meal. In other words, it promotes feelings of fullness and communicates to your body that you've just about had enough of that energy replenishment. Incorporating foods rich in fat like avocados, butter, oil, whole milk dairy products, yogurt, milk, cheese, nuts, seeds, and even fatty fish can be extremely helpful. And my final suggestion for increasing the staying power of your meal or snack is to swap portion control with mindful eating techniques. It's common for dancers to fall vulnerable to restrictive eating patterns, and portion control is one of those. But instead, we want to prioritize body attunement. This means starting to understand how our body communicates feelings of satiety, like fullness, and the onset of satiety while you're eating. Recognizing these individual satiety cues will help dancers understand how much more food they might need to feel full and satisfied, at least for the next few hours. Mindful eating isn't always accessible, especially when we don't have the privilege of time in our day to actually sit and build a more mindful eating experience. So when it is accessible to you, I highly encourage that you try it. Sit down and consider the various aspects of your meal or snack. Taste, textures, aromas. What do you like? What do you dislike? What might you try again and what might not you want to try again? This is all a process of self-discovery to learn what meals and snacks are going to support you, but not just from a physical aspect, also from a mental and emotional aspect. So a few examples of foods with a higher staying power. Instead of snacking on sliced veggies alone, I was totally guilty of doing this when I was dancing full time, and boy oh boy was I left feeling super unsatisfied and hungry. Not to mention having a challenged relationship with food that thankfully is long in my past. But instead, pair your sliced veggies with crackers and hummus. Instead of just having rice as a side with your meal, add some beans to your rice. If having potatoes, try adding some butter or olive oil for not just flavor, but again to help with that overall satisfaction. If you're enjoying a fruit salad, add some bananas to it and pair it with some yogurt, maybe sprinkle some flax, add some chopped nuts. And when it comes to your bowl of cereal, consider using a full-fat milk option and maybe even, again, sprinkling some chopped nuts or ground flax into the mix. I hope you found this video beneficial and that you're walking away with some newfound tips to increase the staying power of your meals and snacks. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.